Hi, and welcome to English Channel. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
1. Introduction. The Land of the Dragon. Vietnam is not just a country on a map. It is a land with a long and powerful story. For thousands of years, this land has seen kings rise, kingdoms fall, and people fight to protect their home. Many people call Vietnam the Land of the Dragon, a symbol of strength, courage, and survival. This story will take you on a journey through time. You will hear about ancient kingdoms, long struggles, great wars, and peaceful rebuilding. Each part of this story shows how Vietnamese people never gave up, even in the hardest times. Sit back, relax, and listen carefully. Let the story guide you through Vietnam's past and help you understand how this land became the country it is today. 2. Ancient roots. Long ago, the story of Vietnam began with small groups of people living near rivers and forests. The most important river was the Red River in the north. Its water helped people grow rice and survive. Over time, these people came together and formed the Van Lang Kingdom. This was one of the first kingdoms in Vietnamese history. Van Lang was ruled by kings called the Hung Kings. They were seen as strong and wise leaders. The Hung Kings helped organize society and protect the people. Farmers learned how to grow rice in wet fields. Villages became more stable and peaceful. People shared food and worked together. They followed common rules and traditions. Later, around the 3rd century BC, a new kingdom appeared called Olac. A leader named Njung Vong united different groups of people. He built a strong capital called Koloa. Koloa was a large fortress with high walls. It was designed to protect the kingdom from enemies. Olac showed the importance of unity and defense. At the same time, the Dong Sun culture developed. This culture is famous for its bronze drums. The drums were made with great skill and beauty. They were used in ceremonies and special events. The drums showed pictures of farming, dancing, and fighting. They tell us about daily life in ancient Vietnam. Dong Sun bronze drums were found in many parts of Southeast Asia. This shows early Vietnam had strong connections with other regions. Today, the bronze drum is a symbol of Vietnamese identity. Together, Van Lang, Olac, and the Dong Sun culture form the ancient roots of Vietnam's long history. 3. The Thousand-Year Struggle. For more than 1,000 years, Vietnam lived under Chinese rule. This period lasted from 111 BC to 939 AD. Chinese rulers wanted to control the land and the people. They brought their own language, laws, and system of government. They taught new farming skills and writing methods. Many Vietnamese people learned these skills. However, they did not forget their own culture. They kept their customs, beliefs, and traditions alive. Life under foreign rule was not easy. Heavy taxes were common. Many people were forced to work for the rulers. Because of this, resistance movements began to appear. Vietnamese leaders quietly planned rebellions. They waited for the right moment to fight back. One of the most famous resistance movements was led by the Trung sisters. Their names were Trung Trak and Trung Ni. In the year 40 AD, they raised an army to fight Chinese rule. They were brave and strong leaders. Many people followed them and joined the fight. For a short time, they freed Vietnam and ruled the land. Sadly, the Chinese army returned with great force. The Trung sisters were defeated. Even so, they became symbols of courage and national pride. The desire for independence never disappeared. Generation after generation continued to resist. Finally, in 939 AD, a leader named No Guin changed history. He defeated the Chinese army in a great river battle. This victory ended over 1,000 years of foreign rule. Vietnam became independent again. The long struggle had finally brought freedom. 4. Golden eras and village life. After gaining independence, Vietnam entered a period of growth and stability. One of the greatest periods was under the Liu dynasty. The Liu kings worked to build a strong and organized country. They created clear laws to protect the people. These laws helped both rich and poor citizens. Education became very important during this time. Schools were built across the country. Students studied reading, writing, and moral values. Exams were used to choose government officials. This meant people could rise through education, not family power. Learning was respected by society. While kings ruled the nation, villages ruled daily life. Most Vietnamese people lived in small farming villages. Villages were often surrounded by rice fields and rivers. People worked together to grow rice and raise animals. Neighbors helped each other during hard times. Village rules were followed with respect. Traditional culture was strong in village life. Festivals were held every year. People honored their ancestors and local spirits. Family values were very important. Children respected parents and elders. Community harmony was valued above personal gain. This village culture helped Vietnam stay united. Even during wars, traditions did not disappear. Culture became a quiet form of resistance and strength. The golden eras and village life shaped the Vietnamese identity. They taught discipline, respect, and cooperation. These values still influence Vietnam today. 5. Expansion and Champa. After independence, Vietnam did not stay the same size. The country slowly expanded toward the south. This movement is called the southward expansion. At that time, central and southern lands were home to the Champa kingdom. Champa was an old and powerful kingdom. Its people were skilled sailors and traders. Champa culture was different from Vietnamese culture. They followed Hindu and later Islamic beliefs. They built beautiful brick temples and towers. As Vietnam expanded, conflicts began to appear. There were battles between Vietnamese armies and Champa forces. Land and power became the main reasons for war. Over many centuries, Champa became weaker. Some Champa lands were taken by Vietnam. Many Champa people moved away or mixed with local communities. However, this process was not only about war. There was also cultural exchange and integration. Vietnamese people learned new farming methods and art styles. Champa music, dance, and architecture influenced Vietnamese culture. Some Champa traditions still exist today. They can be seen in festivals and local customs. Many Champa people stayed and became part of Vietnamese society. They kept parts of their language and beliefs. Over time, cultures blended together. The southward expansion changed Vietnam forever. It shaped the country's long and narrow shape. It also created a diverse and multicultural society. This period shows both conflict and connection. It reminds us that history is not only about victory, it is also about learning to live together. 6. The colonial shadow. By the early 1800s, Vietnam was ruled by the Nguyen dynasty. The Nguyen emperors controlled a united Vietnam. They ruled from the capital city of Hue. The government followed strict rules and traditions. Power was centered around the emperor. Change was slow and carefully controlled. During this time, European powers were expanding in Asia. France wanted land, resources, and influence. Vietnam became one of their targets. In the mid-1800s, French forces invaded Vietnam. Vietnamese armies tried to resist. However, their weapons were outdated. France slowly took control of the country. Vietnam became a French colony. This period is called French colonial rule. The French took land from local farmers. They forced people to grow crops for export. Vietnamese workers were paid very little. Natural resources were exploited. Railways and roads were built mainly for French benefit. Most Vietnamese people lived in poverty. Education favored the French language and culture. Vietnamese traditions were often ignored or weakened. Many people felt angry and humiliated. Resistance movements began to rise. Scholars, farmers, and workers joined together. They dreamed of freedom and independence. Some resisted quietly. Others organized open rebellions. Although many failed, the spirit of resistance grew stronger. This colonial shadow left deep scars, but it also awakened a strong national identity. The fight for freedom had begun again. 7. The path to freedom. In the early 1900s, Vietnam was still under French rule. Many Vietnamese people dreamed of independence. One man became the voice of that dream. His name was Ho Chi Minh. He believed Vietnam should be free and equal. He believed people deserved dignity and justice. Ho Chi Minh traveled to many countries. He learned about freedom movements around the world. He returned with new ideas and strong determination. In 1941, he helped create the Viet Minh. The Viet Minh was a group fighting for independence. They united farmers, workers, and soldiers. During World War II, Japan occupied Vietnam. France became weaker during this time. The Viet Minh used this chance to grow stronger. In 1945, Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam's independence. He announced the birth of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. Many people celebrated with hope and pride. However, France wanted to return and rule again. War soon broke out between France and the Viet Minh. This conflict became known as the First Indochina War. The fighting lasted for many years. Vietnamese soldiers had fewer weapons, but they had strong will and support from the people. The most important battle happened in 1954. It was the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. The Viet Minh surrounded and defeated the French army. This victory shocked the world. France agreed to leave Vietnam. Colonial rule finally came to an end. The long road to freedom had reached a turning point, but peace was still far away. 8. The Great War and Reunification. After 1954, Vietnam was divided into two parts. The North followed communism. The South was supported by the United States. This division created tension and fear. Both sides wanted control of the country. Soon, conflict turned into war. This war is known as the Vietnam War. It lasted from the 1950s to the 1970s. It became one of the longest wars of the Cold War. The United States sent troops to support the South. Modern weapons and bombs were used. Cities, villages, and forests were destroyed. Many Vietnamese people suffered greatly. Families were separated. Millions lost their lives. Despite heavy bombing, the North continued to resist. Guerrilla fighters used the land to their advantage. Support from local people remained strong. The war also caused protest around the world. Many people questioned the cost of war. Pressure for peace continued to grow. In the early 1970s, U.S. troops began to withdraw. Peace talks took place, but fighting continued inside Vietnam. In 1975, Northern forces entered Saigon. The war finally came to an end. Vietnam was reunified under one government. The country was officially united again. Decades of war had ended. The land was damaged and poor, yet the people did not give up. They began the long work of rebuilding. Reunification marked a new chapter in Vietnam's history. From war and division, Vietnam moved toward peace. 9. Rising from the ashes. After reunification in 1975, Vietnam faced many difficulties. The country had just come out of decades of war. Cities were damaged and villages were poor. Many roads, schools, and hospitals were destroyed. Farms had little equipment. Food was often not enough for everyone. The government focused on post-war reconstruction. People worked together to rebuild their land. Factories, bridges, and homes were slowly repaired. Life was still very hard in the early years. The economy was weak and closed. Trade with other countries was limited. By the mid-1980s, leaders knew change was necessary. In 1986, Vietnam began the Doi Moi reforms. Doi Moi means renovation or renewal. These reforms changed the way the economy worked. Private businesses were allowed to grow. Farmers could sell their products freely. Foreign investment was welcomed. Vietnam opened its doors to the world. New markets and opportunities appeared. The results were slow at first, but year by year, life improved. Food production increased. Millions of people moved out of poverty. Cities began to grow and modernize. Education and healthcare also improved. Vietnam's economic recovery became clear. The country turned from a war-torn land into a developing nation. Hard work and patience brought real change. From ashes and hardship, Vietnam began to rise again. 10. Vietnam today. Today, Vietnam is a country full of energy and movement. Modern cities, stand beside old streets and temples. Tradition and change exist together. Vietnam has a strong modern identity. It remembers its past, but looks to the future. History is respected, not forgotten. The young generation plays an important role. Most Vietnamese people are young and active. They study, work, and dream big. Many young people learn foreign languages. They use technology and social media every day. They connect Vietnam with the global world. Education and innovation are growing quickly. Startups and creative businesses are appearing. Vietnam is becoming more confident on the world stage. However, challenges still remain. Economic gaps between city and countryside exist. Environmental problems are increasing. Climate change affects farms and coastal areas. Rapid development puts pressure on nature. Balancing growth and sustainability is not easy. Vietnam also faces global competition. The future requires skills, knowledge, and creativity. Young people carry this responsibility. Despite challenges, hope is strong. Vietnam has survived great hardships before. Its people are resilient and determined. The future of Vietnam is still being written. It is shaped by lessons from the past and guided by the dreams of a new generation. From ancient roots to modern times, Vietnam continues its long journey forward. 11 Lessons from the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was one of the hardest periods in history. It brought pain, loss, and deep scars to the country. The first lesson is the true cost of war. War destroys not only buildings, but also lives and families. Many innocent people suffer the most. Another lesson is the power of determination. Vietnamese people never gave up, even in great hardship. Strong will can stand against powerful weapons. The war also teaches the importance of unity. When people stand together, they become stronger. Division only brings more suffering. Peace is another important lesson. War may end conflicts, but peace heals wounds. Dialogue is better than violence. The Vietnam War shows that foreign control creates resistance. People want to decide their own future. Freedom is deeply valued by every nation. Finally, the war teaches us to remember history. Remembering helps prevent the same mistakes. It teaches future generations to choose peace. From pain came wisdom. From loss came strength. The lessons of the Vietnam War still matter today.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.